The vast museum hall echoed with soft whispers and muted footsteps. J. Park walked carefully around the massive metal machine, his fingers trailing along its dusty surface. The tank stood like a forgotten giant, its olive-green paint faded but still holding hints of its original color. The alien research team from the Galactic Exploration Unit moved around the exhibit with a mixture of curiosity and barely concealed amusement. Their slender blue-skinned bodies contrasted sharply with the heavy, angular machine. Yuna Kim, the lead archaeologist, adjusted her translation device and began recording observations. "Primitive," muttered Dong-Su, the youngest member of the alien research team. His tentacle-like appendages waved dismissively as he circled the tank. Humans truly were remarkable in their lack of technological sophistication. Jay understood their language perfectly. He had spent years studying alien communications, and while they spoke as if humans were long extinct, he knew better. The tank before them was more than just a relic, it was a testament to human engineering. The museum was located on a remote colony world, one of the many outposts humanity had established before the Great Migration. Abandoned for centuries, the facility had become a time capsule of human civilization. Dust-covered displays showed fragments of human history, old weapons, technological prototypes, and pieces of everyday life. Yuna approached the tank, her multi-lens eyes scanning its exterior. "Fascinating mechanical warfare device," she commented, her translation device rendering her alien speech into clear human language. "Look at the primitive tracks, the manual loading mechanisms. Can you imagine humans actually fighting in such contraptions?" The other alien researchers chuckled. Their own technology involved energy weapons, quantum displacement, and neural combat interfaces. A tank seemed like something from a prehistoric era to them. Jay watched silently. He knew something they didn't. This wasn't just any tank, this was a specially preserved M1 Abrams, one of the most advanced battle tanks of its time. Each bolt, each piece of armor plating told a story of human ingenuity. The tank's exterior showed remarkable preservation. Advanced museum preservation protocols had kept it intact, protecting it from environmental decay. Microsealing technologies and climate-controlled chambers had essentially frozen the machine in time. Dong-Su tapped the tank's side with a metallic probe. "Completely non-functional," he declared. "Just a museum piece. Imagine fighting wars with these ground-based metal boxes." Little did they know how wrong they were. The research team continued their examination. Holographic scanners mapped the tank's exterior, creating detailed three-dimensional records. They measured, they scanned, they documented, all while treating the machine as nothing more than a curiosity. Jay noticed something in their approach. They were collectors, not historians. They saw artifacts as objects to be catalogued, not as carriers of stories and memories. Each scratch on the tank's surface told a potential story of human resilience, of battles fought and survived. His hand moved closer to a specific panel almost unconsciously. Something about the tank seemed different. More alive. As if it was waiting, watching. The alien researchers continued their examination, their translator devices converting their complex language into simple human speech. They spoke about human technology with a mix of academic interest and subtle condescension. "Mechanical. Inefficient," Yuna commented. "But somehow, intriguing." Jay smiled slightly. They had no idea what was about to happen. The museum's lights flickered momentarily. A subtle vibration passed through the floor, so slight that only someone paying extremely close attention would notice. The tank sat perfectly still, but something had changed. Something was waking up. The alien researchers continued their work, completely unaware that the relic they were examining was about to prove them spectacularly wrong about human technology. The museum's silence was about to be broken in a way no one could have predicted. And Jay Park knew exactly what was coming. Hyun Lee moved quietly through the museum hall, his maintenance tablet in hand. The soft beeping of the device echoed against the metal displays. He was supposed to be running a routine system check, but his attention kept drifting to the massive tank in the center of the room. The alien researchers were still examining the vehicle, their blue-skinned fingers tracing its contours with a mix of scientific curiosity and mild mockery. They didn't notice Hyun's careful approach. A small error message blinked on his tablet. Something about an outdated preservation system needed recalibration. Hyun moved closer to the tank, his hand reaching out almost instinctively. His fingers brushed against a hidden panel, one that looked like nothing more than a simple piece of weathered metal. But something happened. A tiny click. A barely perceptible vibration. The alien researchers continued their work, completely unaware. At first, nothing seemed different. The tank remained motionless. But deep within its mechanical core, something began to stir. Ancient systems, designed to remain dormant for centuries, started to wake up. Dong-soo, the youngest alien researcher, was taking holographic images. "Look at this human technology," he laughed to Yuna. "So primitive. So quaint." A low hum began to build. So soft at first that it could have been mistaken for background museum noise. But it was growing. Slowly. Steadily. Hyun felt something change. The air seemed to become charged with a strange energy. He took a step back, his eyes fixed on the tank. The alien researchers continued their documentation, completely oblivious to the subtle changes happening around them. Their translation devices converted their complex alien language into simple human speech, filled with comments about human technological limitations. "Mechanical warfare," Yuna commented. "So different from our quantum combat systems." The hum grew louder. A panel on the tank's side shifted almost imperceptibly. Dust that had settled for centuries began to tremble. Hyun's tablet started to malfunction. Strange readings appeared, energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Power systems activating from deep within the tank's core. Dong-soo turned, catching the strange moment. "What's happening?" he asked, his multiple eyes blinking in confusion. No one answered. The tank's internal systems were coming online. Preservation protocols designed centuries ago were initializing. Microfusion cells that were thought to be long dead were beginning to pulse with unexpected energy. A warning light flickered on Hyun's tablet. Then another. And another. The alien researchers began to notice something was different. The tank no longer looked like a passive museum piece. Something was changing. Something was awakening. Jay Park, who had been watching from a distance, took a single step forward. His eyes were fixed on the tank, a hint of a smile playing on his lips. The museum's lighting changed. Shadows seemed to shift. The tank's outline became sharper, more defined. "This is impossible," Yuna whispered. But nothing is truly impossible. Especially when it comes to human technology. The humming grew louder. Mechanical systems that had been dormant for centuries began to pulse with life. Something was happening. Something unexpected. Hyun took another step back. His maintenance tablet now showed a cascade of impossible readings. Energy signatures. Power systems. Combat protocols. The tank was waking up. And the alien researchers were about to learn a lesson about human engineering they would never forget. The museum's silence was about to be broken. Something was coming, the tank's internal systems flickered with life. Deep within its mechanical heart, ancient algorithms began to process. Combat protocols from a forgotten era started their systematic awakening, each line of code moving with precision. Jay Park watched carefully. His eyes never left the massive machine that seemed to breathe with mechanical anticipation. The alien researchers remained clustered together, their initial mockery replaced by growing uncertainty. Hyunlee's tablet continued displaying strange readings. Power systems that should have been dead for centuries were coming online. Microcircuits designed for extreme preservation began their careful initialization sequence. The tank's AI, a complex system developed during humanity's most advanced military period, started its diagnostic routines. Tracking systems calibrated. Sensor arrays awakened. Each movement was calculated, deliberate. Yuna Kim took a step back. Something felt different. The tank no longer looked like a passive museum piece. Its outlines seemed sharper, more alive. "This shouldn't be possible," Dongsu muttered, his alien translator converting his words into clear human speech. But possibility was never something humans considered a limitation. Centuries of preservation protocols kicked into full gear. The tank's internal systems ran through complex checks: power distribution, weapons system diagnostics, communication network scans. Each process moved with mathematical precision. The museum's lighting changed. Shadows shifted. Dust that had settled for generations began to tremble. Jay noticed how the alien researchers were now standing perfectly still. Their previous laughter had disappeared. Something was happening that they couldn't understand. Deep inside the tank, combat algorithms began to integrate. Historical data merged with current environmental scans. The AI was learning, processing, analyzing the unfamiliar space around it. Weapon systems began their initial calibration. Not aggressively. Just a systematic check of decades-old mechanisms. But each movement was precise. Each system check conducted with mechanical perfection. Hyun's tablet started showing impossible data streams. Energy signatures that shouldn't exist. Power systems awakening from deep hibernation. The tank's external cameras, dormant for centuries, slowly began to adjust. Scanning. Processing. Understanding the environment around them. Alien researchers found themselves unable to move. The once hilarious museum piece was transforming before their eyes. Something was definitely waking up. Targeting systems came online. Laser guidance mechanisms began their careful alignment. Electromagnetic pulse capabilities initialized their diagnostic sequences. Jay Park took a single step forward. A small smile played on his lips. He knew exactly what was happening. The tank was remembering its purpose. Mechanical joints that hadn't moved in centuries started to adjust. Micro-movements. Subtle. Precise. The dust around its base began to shift. Yuna's translation device captured her whispered words, "This is impossible." But humans never truly understood the meaning of impossible. The museum's silence was being replaced by a low, growing hum. A vibration that seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at the same time. Alien researchers found themselves backing away. Their previous confidence was gone. Replaced by something else. Something that felt like fear. The tank's systems continued their awakening. Each moment bringing it closer to full activation. Each diagnostic sequence revealing more of its incredible design. Jay watched. Waiting. Knowing what was coming. The alien researchers were about to learn a lesson about human technology they would never forget. And the tank was just getting started. The museum hall erupted with sudden energy. The tank's weapon systems burst into full activation, catching everyone by complete surprise. Laser guidance mechanisms locked onto the alien researchers with terrifying precision, red targeting dots dancing across their blue-skinned bodies. Yuna Kim froze. Her multiple eyes widened in pure shock. The mechanical monster they had been mocking moments ago was now analyzing them like potential threats. Mechanical panels shifted. Ancient armor plates realigned with impossible smoothness. Decades of preservation technology combined with military-grade engineering created a nightmare none of the aliens could comprehend. Han Lee dove for cover behind a nearby display, his maintenance tablet forgotten on the floor. The tank's internal systems were moving beyond simple diagnostic checks. This was full combat mode. Electromagnetic pulses began charging. The air itself seemed to vibrate with potential energy. Alien scanning equipment started malfunctioning, their sophisticated technology completely overwhelmed by the tank's defensive protocols. Dongsu tried to move but found himself frozen. The tank's tracking systems were calculating movement patterns faster than any computer he had ever seen. Each subtle shift was immediately compensated for, each potential escape route anticipated. Jay Park watched with a mixture of pride and anticipation. This was human engineering at its finest, a machine designed to defend itself, to adapt, to survive. The tank's weapon systems continued their initialization. Kinetic energy capabilities powered up, creating a low humming sound that made the museum floor tremble. Dust cascaded from displays, creating an almost apocalyptic atmosphere. Alien researchers began to realize this was no longer a joke. The primitive human machine was proving to be anything but primitive. Laser-guided systems locked onto multiple targets simultaneously. Each alien researcher found themselves in the crosshairs of a weapon system that seemed to have an intelligence of its own. The tank's AI was processing threat levels, calculating response strategies with mathematical precision. Yuna's translation device captured her whispered words, "This is not possible." But possibility was never a limitation for human technology. The tank's external speakers crackled to life. An old combat recording played, a reminder of humanity's military past. The sound echoed through the museum, a ghostly declaration of technological might. Mechanical arms adjusted. Weapon barrels tracked movement with impossible accuracy. The tank was no longer a museum piece, it was a living, breathing defensive system. Dong-Su attempted to activate his personal shield technology. It failed instantly, overwhelmed by the tank's electromagnetic pulse capabilities. Han watched from his hiding spot, both terrified and amazed. This was why human technology was legendary across the galaxy. The tank's internal systems continued their defensive sequence. Each movement calculated. Each potential threat analyzed and neutralized before it could become a real danger. Alien scanning equipment continued to fail. Their most advanced technology was nothing compared to this preserved human war machine. Jay Park took a step forward. The tank seemed to recognize him, its weapon systems subtly adjusting to protect rather than attack. The museum hall became a testament to human engineering. A single machine demonstrating capabilities that defied everything the alien researchers understood about technology. Weapon systems charged. Defensive protocols activated. The tank stood ready, a guardian from a forgotten era, proving that human technology was anything but primitive. The alien researchers stood perfectly still. Their previous mockery had transformed into pure, unadulterated fear. Something incredible was happening. And it was just beginning. The news spread across galactic communication networks faster than light itself. What had begun as a simple museum expedition became the most talked about incident in recent alien history. Yuna Kim's research team became instant celebrities and cautionary tales. Their holographic recordings of the tank's unexpected activation went viral across multiple alien communication platforms. What started as a mockery of human technology transformed into a legend of technological unpredictability. Jay Park stood quietly as intergalactic news networks replayed the museum incident repeatedly. The tank remained perfectly preserved, now a symbol of something much larger than a simple war machine. Alien universities began studying the incident. Research teams analyzed every millisecond of the recording. How could a centuries-old machine demonstrate such advanced defensive capabilities? The technological gap seemed impossible to explain. Dong-Su, once the most vocal critic of human technology, now found himself giving lectures about unexpected engineering marvels. His previous mockery had become a lesson in humility. Communication networks buzzed with theories. Some suggested the tank was a deliberate trap. Others believed it represented a hidden layer of human technological advancement that had been completely misunderstood. The museum itself became a pilgrimage site. Researchers from 100 different alien civilizations wanted to see the machine that had challenged everything they believed about technological evolution. Hyun Lee became an unexpected hero. His accidental activation of the tank systems was now discussed in technological circles across multiple star systems. What seemed like a simple maintenance check had revealed something extraordinary. Alien military strategists began reassessing human technological archives. If a single preserved tank could demonstrate such capabilities, what other surprises might human engineering hold? The tank remained silent. a perfect monument to human ingenuity. Its systems occasionally flickered, reminding viewers that it was still operational. Still waiting. Galactic communication networks created countless memes, documentaries, and analysis programs. The incident became more than just a story, it became a cultural phenomenon. Jay Park understood the deeper message. This wasn't just about a tank. This was about human potential. About a civilization that could create technology so advanced it could preserve itself for centuries, waiting for the right moment to demonstrate its capabilities. Research teams continued their analysis. Each examination revealed new layers of complexity. The tank's preservation systems, its combat algorithms, its ability to adapt and respond to unknown environments. The alien researchers who had initially mocked the machine now spoke about it with reverence. Their previous assumptions about human technology had been completely shattered. Universities created entire research departments dedicated to understanding the incident. What other technological marvels might be hidden in human archives? What other surprises might be waiting to be discovered? Han's maintenance tablet, the device that had accidentally triggered the tank's activation, became a museum piece itself. A simple tool that had changed galactic understanding. The tank stood as a silent witness. A reminder that technology is more than just machines. It's a testament to the imagination and potential of a civilization. Alien civilizations began re-examining their own technological archives. If humans could create something like this, what might they be capable of? Jay Park watched the global reaction with a subtle smile. He knew this was just the beginning. The tank had become more than a machine. It was a message. A warning. A declaration of human potential. And the galaxy was listening. The incident would be remembered not just as a technological marvel, but as a moment when everything changed. When alien civilizations realized that human technology was something to be respected. Something to be studied. Something to be feared. The museum stood silent. The tank waited. Another potential story brewing in its centuries-old systems. Ready. Always ready.